to what to notice in the people that we're with, and the questions to ask as well. Okay, if you know and catch most of the red flags in your relationship, you will end up marrying well and enjoying your marriage. If you don't catch the red flags in your relationships, then after you get married, you're going to have a lot of problems, enough to break the marriage. So it's very, very important that you actually listen to this and just get to know what the red flags are. I am sure that tonight you are going to hear some red flags that you don't really understand, know right now, that those are red flags. Okay? And like I said before, red flags come in categories. There are some that are warnings to slow down, some are warnings to get out. Okay? Some are warnings to run, some are caution signs, some are, look before you cross kind of thing. Some are stop signs, like just stop right now and check things over. And some are run for your life red flags. So if your partner, is exhibiting a run for your life red flag, then you want to really run for your life. Okay. Some red flags require that you proceed with caution. Some red flags require that the counseling and intervention. There are times that your partner will need counseling before the marriage, and tell them, and both of you get it. Now, if for any reason your partner does not want to get counseling, that in itself is a huge red flag. Seriously, because I'll tell you this: when you get married, the conflicts that you have in your marriage, they're going to be mindset conflicts. Okay, hardly will you guys just be fighting physically for no reason. It's going to be somebody's mind willing to do something that the other person's mind is not willing to do, and at that point, if you get counseling, they can be taught. Okay, one of the biggest red flags in marriage is unteachability, the inability of a person to be taught. Either they will not make themselves available, physically or even mentally. They just cannot be taught. They're stuck with their ideas. They will defend themselves. They will gaslight you. They'll do whatever just to hold on to that mindset. And it's a mindset that's causing you pain. So if it causes you pain long enough, what do you think is going to happen? You're going to want to leave. So you just want to know that right now, that having counseling, doing counseling before marriage is very important. One, you're going to learn from the counseling. Two, you're going to know if your partner is willing to get help when there'll be problems. And let me tell you this: you're going to vow to each other and before God as well that I will spend the rest of my life, like till death do us part. It means for the rest of your life you're going to be with this person, and that's a long time. And for sure, along the way, there will be disagreements, there will be things, and if you're not able to be taught the right thing and change your mind and adopt the right thinking, you're going to be a problematic spouse to whoever you're with. So being teachable, and I'll tell you this: when I tell people to give me a list of things you want in your spouse to be, never have I seen a person on their own put teachability in it. They just don't, because people don't think it's important. But that's the most important thing. If like most breakups and divorces come from one party being unteachable, which means they just don't change their mind. Whatever they're doing that's causing pain, they continue to do it, and they just refuse to change their mind, and eventually everything breaks. So that is interesting. Most times people say red flags, but people don't know what the red flags will mean. So tonight we'll talk about that as well. It's very important that you recognize red flags, that you respond. So one thing is you recognize, next thing you respond. Don't see a red flag like this guy or this woman is doing something that's not going to work, and then you keep quiet because you love them so much, or because you're afraid to lose them. Because you're afraid to lose them. And that's one thing too that women particularly do, is you're afraid to lose the guy. No guy is the last best guy. There are more guys, better guys. And if this one isn't standing up straight, be willing to let them go. And it's okay to start from fresh. Seriously, it's better to start from fresh than to marry the wrong person and to suffer pain and cry every night stuck in a marriage that's not really doing anything for you. So you want to be sure that you check these red flags out. Okay? Regular effective counseling is important while you're dating. That is important. And the other thing too is this: when you go for counseling, tell your counselor privately, if you notice any red flags from counseling us, please let me know, and let me know what these red flags will mean in future. So after the counselor can call you back and say, "Well, these are things I think you guys should really look at. These are red flags on this side." And if you're blowing any red flags yourself, you can say, "Well, these are red flags on your side," and then you guys can work it out. It's really, really important. Okay, make the best use of your counseling session. Okay, and feel free to ask the counselor to tell you, like, this thing I'm seeing. What does it mean? What does it manifest as in marriage? And then he'll tell you, and you will be blessed. Okay. So I mentioned unteachability, like unteachability comes from pride. When people are very proud, they you can't teach them because they think they just know everything. So sometimes pride looks okay in a person where it's like it's not bad. But you got to see the degree of that pride. If that pride is of a certain degree, it's going to be a problem. It's going to result not only in unteachability but many other things as well. So that's one thing. Where your partner should be growing. Your partner must be willing to read books, watch videos, listen to messages, or talk, or have a mentor. If you meet a person who has none of these things, it means that they're not available for information to come to them, because there's no mentor, there's no coach, they're not reading, they're not watching anything. It might not look like a bad thing, but it's very bad because it means they're not growing and they're not open to growing. So one, whatever you see there, there's not going to be a better version of them coming out. So that is very, very important. Red flags. Now, of course, I said pride is a red flag. It is a completely huge red flag. When people are proud, they become opinionated, and a person who is opinionated will make a very poor spouse. And also, they feel they know everything. If you're ever with a person who they just seem to claim to know everything, you're gonna have problems, because you might not have thought about it, but if you are living with a person who knows everything, who makes you feel like you know nothing, and is not willing to hear whatever you have to say, and whatever it is, it's what they say because they know everything. It can be torture. So this is a red flag. A person who is opinionated, they feel they know everything. A person that's not teachable. A person that's not open for information to come to them. All these are red flags. Cheating is a red flag. I've seen where he was cheating before you married. He and not just once. I mean, if somebody cheated once, repented and stopped completely, by the grace of God, that could be okay. But this person is cheating, male or female, and they're cheating numerous times, and you still marry them, and then you think when you marry they will be faithful. I mean, like sometimes, where do people get these things from? If he was cheating or she was cheating consistently before you married them, they are going to continue cheating after you marry them. Marriage is not a medicine; it doesn't change people, and you may not know how painful it is to marry a cheat, because maybe you're single and you're carefree. But when you commit yourself to marriage to a person who continues to cheat, you don't know what diseases he's bringing home. You don't know what's going on. It's disrespectful. People are knowing outside. They're feeling sorry for you inside. It's just not okay. Okay, because sometimes people trivialize cheating, like, well, cheating is not a big thing. Everybody cheats these days. But nope, it is not. It's a big red flag. Don't go for it. Next one is anger. Anger is a red flag. Not just like regular anger, but people who can't control their anger and get angry quickly. Okay, living with a person that's like a time bomb on a short fuse can be very, very, very. It's torturous, because this person, at the smallest thing, they've taken offense and they're angry and they explode. It's not good for marriage. It's a big red flag. This is not a total run, but it's a definite stop. Proceed with caution and make sure this person gets help. Anger problems can be resolved. You need counseling, you need therapy, you need deliverance, you need all of these things, and most times, with most people, anger comes from a disconnection with the father figure in your life. But this is something that you will handle during therapy. Okay, so we talked about anger. Next thing is control. Control, believe it or not, is a form of abuse. When somebody tries to control you, which means they put you in a box and try to keep you in that box. So you can't do what you want. You're not free, but they're controlling you. it's a red flag. Anytime that you are with a person and they're trying to monitor you and control you, it is a huge red flag. And you need to stop and figure out what's going on and maybe get out of that relationship. The other thing too that comes to control is isolation. You meet a guy or a woman who controls you. You can't do this, you can't do this, you can't do this, you can't do this. Then they start to disconnect you of your social support, your emotional support, of your friends. So after a while, you're with this person and you can't talk to your close friends, and you can't talk to your sister, and you can't talk to your brother, and you can hardly go home and see your parents. And this person is just starting to isolate you. It's a huge red flag. Isolation always precedes abuse. Once you're disconnected from your support, your friends can't talk to you, your parents can't talk to you, your family can't talk to you, then the abuse starts. And because you're isolated, then the abuse is not discovered by other people. You don't get the opportunity to get advice from people or get strengthened or encouraged to push back or leave because you're isolated. So anytime you meet a person who is attempting to control you or isolate you, that is a huge red flag. You actually want to back up and, if possible, get out. Okay, so keep that in mind always. So this is PD 19, and we're both on Instagram and YouTube. And hi everybody, subscribe, follow, and tap the bell. Are we good? Anyone that has the capacity to fight you is a huge red flag. Fighting is not normal in marriage, even in relationships. It's okay to disagree, but disagreements should not escalate into fights. And this what happens is that people sometimes, you've grown up in an environment where you've seen your parents fight a lot, and in your mind you just think, well, people fight in marriages, but that's not the truth. People have disagreements in marriages, but they don't fight. Fighting is not normal. And if a person has the audacity, the balls to raise his or her hand and strike you, a full adult, and they do that, don't trivialize that. That's very bad. A lot of boundaries were broken in that setup. So you've got to understand that anybody that has the capacity to fight you, it's a red flag. You want out. I mean, that person needs some serious counseling, serious deliverance and therapy. So just know that, do not stand for that at all. The other point now is abuse. And abuse can be verbal, it can be emotional, it can be isolation, it can be physical, it can be financial. Any form of abuse, you've got to not accommodate abuse. Where you are with a person who verbally abuses you, where your parents have never called you stupid, idiot, how can you, just spoken to you down like that. They've never. Now you're with this person and they're talking to you like that. I mean, that's not okay. That's just not okay. So be very, very sensitive to abuse. If you run into abuse, you give a warning, you set a boundary. If they violate that boundary once, you get out. It's like gone. Because if you set a boundary and say, well, if you hit me, I will go, and then they hit you and you don't go, do you know what you've done? You've authorized them to continue to hit you and beat you at will, because you never did what you said you would do. So with boundaries, you've got to set your boundaries, you've got to communicate your boundaries, you must enforce your boundaries. Don't threaten something that you don't plan to do. Whatever it is that you threaten, that, well, if you do this to me, I'll do this. Make sure that you do it. Are we good? Don't, like, if you meet a person that's overly aggressive towards other people, even though it's not yet turned to you, know this: whatever you see a person doing to others, but they're doing something different to you, know this. Eventually, what you see them doing to others, they're going to do to you. So never stick for, well, this person is aggressive and very rude to people on the outside, but while they're still courting you, they are nice. So you feel, well, I mean, the guy's a nice guy. No, he or she is only doing what they're doing because you're in this stage of the relationship. When things are settled and everything, whatever you see them doing to others, they're going to do to you. That's why it's good that when you're the person and they're nice to people, they're just nice to people, they're nice to other people, that's a good sign. Because if they're nice to other people just randomly, then they're going to continue to be nice to you, all the time. But if they're nice to you, but nasty to other people, nice to you, nasty to other people, eventually the nastiness will come home and rest, and it won't be funny. I hope we're hearing something about red flags. I hope we are getting wiser. Like, marriage is knowledge driven, it's not love driven. It's about knowing what needs to be known to make it successful. Love on its own could never sustain a marriage, because even though you love them, you will hurt each other. And when the pain gets too much, you break. So that love could not hold it. But if you had the right knowledge and the love, then you will know what to do and not to do, and you know how to not hurt yourselves, and to just keep moving in a loving and calm and peaceful way. Are we good? Okay. Something that's interesting, that may not sound like a red flag, but is a person needs to know that the sexes are different. If you're a man, you need to know that women are different. Their needs are different. You handle them different. Okay? And women need to know that men are different. If you, like, men don't need a lot of emotional support, they don't need a lot of talking. If you treat your wife that way, and the men that just say, well, why does she want to talk so much? Why does she want to talk at night? Why does she go back to issues all the time? But that's because she's a woman, and the way her brain is wired, she needs things resolved. She unwinds verbally, and she needs you to listen agreeably. She doesn't need you to counter and bring solutions, or just disagree with what she's saying when she's trying to unwind, because that's just going to wind her up more. But many men don't know this. Same thing with women, where you can't treat your man like a woman. Like, women are more cooperative in their attitude. They work together. Men don't work together like that. So don't force him. If he's not accepting your help, let him go. Let him just try and do his thing, and you compliment him when he's done. So it's very important that you marry one. I mean, that you're the person that, one, is self-aware and is aware of the differences between men and women. Men and women are not the same. If you treat us the same, you're going to have a rough time. I will do a teaching on this later, but this is a big topic, actually. Good. Taking offense quickly is a red flag. There are people who, they just take offense quickly. They're very sensitive. You say, before you say anything, they're angry, they're upset, they are giving you silent treatment, they are already pulling face, just over little things. Now, a marriage is for a lifetime. There's going to be all sorts of things going on, and if you guys can't remain calm and just nice for a very long time, the marriage is going to be up and down, up and down, up and down, and you don't want that. Are we good? Time is flying. Okay. If you have any questions, write them down. If you know any red flags, just write them down as well. It will be interesting to see what red flags that you guys have. Somebody says, should I marry a lady who constantly reminds me that she is 7 years older than me? She's a single mom of two and not willing to carry my own child. Okay, but bringing options of surrogacy. So she's 7 years older, always reminding you. Now, the thing there is that you should be very careful with that, because when there's differences in age, the older person has got to be young at heart and hold their position in the marriage. So in this case, she shouldn't be See, if she's reminding you that she's older than you, then she's trying to lead you. She's trying to be in control, and she's using her age and experience to control you. But that can't work in marriage. She's a wife, and you are the man. You lead. And if she feels you don't have the capacity to lead her, then she should leave you alone, or you should leave her alone and find somebody that you can lead, or that's willing to be led by you. Okay? This is very important. Don't get yourself in an unnecessarily tight spot for whatever reason. That's my advice right there. Okay, I think today I'm doing much better looking at the questions on the platform. So yes, as I was saying something right now. People that take offense quickly end up having a turbulent marriage. I can tell you right there where it's turbulent, because you're spending half the time begging them, and that's just not okay. Okay. There are some people that when you offend them, they are slow to bounce back after offense. Even to quite frankly, while you're dating somebody, you've got to look for an opportunity to offend them, which is very interesting. Yeah, because If you marry a person that you've never offended before, that's dangerous because after you marry them and you offend them and you see the way they respond, it could be the end of that marriage. So as a rule, look for some style and off. See, like there's some things you do consciously in a marriage. I mean, when you're dating, one, offend them on purpose and then figure out how they take. I mean, if they're cool, they're cool. If they communicate about it, it's okay, and they calm down, it's good. But if they give you silent treatment, beat you up, you know, cut you off, do wicked things to you because you offended them, then that's the way they resolve conflicts. And if that's the way they resolve conflicts, then get away from them because you're definitely going to have conflicts in marriage. You just get that. So make sure that you. The other thing too is you must find a way to just watch the person, and when they get something wrong, correct them. Saying like, darling, that thing you did, it can be done better. I just, do it respectfully, but correct them because you want to know how they take correction. If you're able to talk to them and they'll take it, because that's a big thing in marriage, communication. If they won't take correction, you are out. If they feel offended or they defend themselves, then they need counseling. So these things, there's some experiences you have to have with a person before you can say I will marry you. If you haven't had those experiences and you marry them, by the time you get those experiences in marriage, it's going to be rough because marriage is not easy to get out of. It's interesting. Marriage is actually easy to get into, but it's very hard to get out of. So you want to really be sure that things look promising before you step forward. Are we good? Okay. Unforgiving. It's it's like living in hell, living with an unforgiving person, where we will offend ourselves, and after I've offended you, I will say sorry, I will repent, I will do whatever, but I expect you to be able to forgive completely and not bring it back all the time and put it away, and will continue like nothing happened. The ability of people to continue like nothing happened is really important. It's really important. And if that's not happening in marriage, then that is a big problem. So you must be really forgiving. Next point is wicked. You don't want to marry a wicked person. They may not be wicked to you yet, but if in their behavior they're wicked to people, wicked generally, they just do wicked things, and you've seen they do wicked things to other people, uh, that's not good. That's not good. And changing the person from being wicked to being loving and nice is very difficult. There's a lot of deliverance and counseling and therapy going on, and so you want to be very very careful. One other thing I want to say is this: if you're on this platform right now, there's a lot of information online on narcissism. Some A lot of people don't really know what narcissism means. But narcissists have the same traits. They're textbooks. They're textbook people where they do exactly what the textbook says. They will love bomb you. They'll come at you and show you a lot of love. At the moment where you're really vulnerable and everything, they start to hurt you. They start to hurt you. They lie. They turn things around. They blame you for everything, and they will never just take responsibility for the hurt or harm that they're doing. And after you push back and you say you're leaving, you're going, they will come back again and love bomb you. They'll buy you flowers, buy you gifts, do other things, and just bring you back in because they want you to be in that position of vulnerability where they can really continue to hurt you, and it's a cycle of abuse. I don't have enough time to get into it here, but for sure, get online. There's more than enough information online. And the craziest thing about this thing is when you meet a narcissist, they are textbook. Textbook meaning exactly what the book says they do is what they do, and in the same format. It's like in the same order that it says. Well, they'll do this, they'll do this, they do this, they do this. They do it exactly like that. So they're easy to find. To the other thing is that sometimes when they love bomb you, you focus on what they're doing, and they're two-faced. They are always nice people on the outside, but on the inside they're demonic. And they hide it really good. People outside would never believe that this person could be so crazy or so mean or nasty, but they are, because they have two faces all the time. So if you know anything about narcissism, let me see something on the platform. Who's ever met a narcissist? Talk to me. Somebody. Yes. Cool, cool, cool. Okay. So don't follow a narcissist. Don't follow a wicked person. Lying. Do not see. Don't trivialize lying. A person who lies is one is showing very low values, and when people have low values, they do very low things. Cheating, infidelity is coming from low values. Lying is a symptom of low values. Just many things. So when if you see a person who lied and you say, okay, this is the truth, and it's okay, I'm sorry, it's okay. But if there seems to be a trend of not saying the truth, then obviously that's a problem, and it's a red flag. If you don't go marry somebody that lies a lot, your marriage cannot be okay. You know, I mean, there are cases where the man has two, three children, and you don't even know. Yeah, then you get just before the marriage, and I say, yes, actually, I have two, three children. If you're able to keep that much away from me before the wedding, then what else are you keeping away from me? So don't trivialize lying. Lying just reflects the quality of the person. And if you marry a low quality person, you're going to struggle with things that you shouldn't really have to struggle with. It's like this is really funny. Lady met a guy, and she knows that this guy is a 419 person. Okay, and then she follows him and marries him. Then later on, he cheats on her and just really cheats her and treats her really bad and takes off. And then she's crying. I'm saying, well, why are you crying? If his livelihood was based on cheating people and you knew, then you decided to follow him. So why are you shocked that he's cheating you now? You just got to get that. Like, don't disconnect what people are doing with what they will do with you. Whatever it is that they're doing elsewhere, eventually they're going to do it to you. I think that's a recurring decimal. Let us know that here. Conditional love is a red flag, which means that I love you if you do this. But if you don't do this, then I can't love you. Big red flag. Or I don't really love the version of you that you are right now, but there's a version of you that I can imagine that when you become that version of you, oh, I want to love you for the rest of your life. Okay? Now that's a red flag because he's not loving you for who you are today. So insist on it. If you can't see, I will try to change, and that is good, but I can't guarantee you the change that you want. So if you can't love me for who I am today, then we have a problem. Because the whole idea is that you love me for who I am today, and then as I get better, your love gets more because I'm moving to the zone of someone that you really won't love more. But you've got to your ground zero is that you love me for who I am today, and that's your ground zero, and that is important. Are we good? So no conditional love. If you find a person with an independent spirit, you really want to be careful because they say they want to get married, but they don't want to be with anybody. So they are protecting and defending their space. They want their space. They want their space. There are times when they don't want to be with you or anybody else. They just want their space, their space, their space. Be careful of people like this because eventually they are just going to want their space only, and you're going to be on the outside. So the whole idea of marriage is for two people to become one. And marriage is a test of your ability of two people to become one. So how do we become one when you are so protective of your space? I can't come into your space emotionally. I can't come into your space physically because that's who you are. And that's one thing too. Anybody that has this is who I am mentality, do not marry them. And you're going to ask me why. Anybody that says this is who I am means that they do not plan to improve, they don't plan to change, they don't plan to do anything to bring out a better version of themselves. And if right now in their ignorance they're causing you pain because that's who they claim they are and cannot change, they're going to cause you pain for the rest of their lives, and this is not a good thing. So be sure that whoever that you meet is a person who is open to change, open to be educated, open to growth. Very important. I mean, if you end up with a person that's like the Dead Sea, where you just like nothing's going out, nothing's coming in, it's just Dead Sea. That is terrible. You don't want to do that. Are we good? Any questions? Yes, I think I've hit the halfway mark. Do I have any questions, people? Today, my gosh, I'm going to attempt to read the questions on the board. Okay, do you have any questions? Anyway, I'm going to say stingy. Do not marry a stingy person. Love is about sharing, is about giving, is about generosity. Um, Stinginess is a red flag because it just doesn't work. You marry the person who, their hands are closed. They're not going to give you anything. They're not going to bless you. They're just going to hoard and keep stuff to themselves. It may not sound serious, but you go ask a woman whose husband is stingy, and see people have left marriages for stinginess. So if you notice stinginess in the beginning, you know, um, it's a big red flag. And this one thing too that I'll say, especially with women, don't come into a relationship with too much masculine energy, which means you come in, you're paying the bills, you're carrying the heavy load, you're fixing the generator, you're doing all these things. Don't do that. Even for the best of guys, he's going to lean back because wow, if somebody's going to do all this hard work for you and she seems happy doing it, I'm going to lean back, and after a while, I'm going to look at it as your responsibility because I've seen women come in, they come with a lot of masculine energy because they've been on their own a lot. I mean, they've been single for a while, so they're used to buying their own fuel and fixing their generator. They used to calling the plumber and the carpenter. They used to carrying the load and everything. So, but when you have a man, your mentality must change. It has to change because you're the guy. You carry the heavy load, and if you don't, then because after a while you're going to complain. I see a lot of women complain that he's not paying, he's not picking up his end of the financial responsibilities. He's not paying the bills. He's not doing anything. But then the house is functioning. So you have a partnership in which one person is not doing anything, but the house is perfect. It's functioning. It means somebody is doing her own and somebody else's work. And as long as you do that and the house is functioning, it's going to stay that way. I mean, for say, well, if I stop, then the house will have problems in the house. But how can I put it? There has to be disruption. If things are going well, the only way change can come, there has got to be disruption. So, and if you are afraid of the disruption, then there will be no change. So, yeah, it's like how the kids go to school. Let the kids sit at home for 2 weeks, 1 month. He will get up and go and get a job and pay their fees. But if you're going to keep the kids in school constantly, and he's not going to do anything. So I hope that we get that. Are we good? Fantastic. We are good. Ah, you don't want to marry a person that's rough. Love is gentle. Love is gentle. And these days, before I thought maybe only men were rough, but women too can be rough. Just rough. Emotionally rough, physically rough, mentally rough. It's not a good thing in marriage. It's a lot of abrasiveness. And marriage is supposed to be sweet and nice and soft and gentle. So you might not realize that just a rough attitude, a rough perspective, a rough reality in a person can actually be a problem, but it can be a problem because when you guys are emotionally like the love is going hot, 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 you will overlook a lot of things. But when it comes into the for the rest of your life kind of thing, and this person is rough, is just abrasive, most of the time, you're going to find it difficult to continue to live with that person because of that attitude. Are we good? This is Piidii, and we're talking about red flags. Red flags are so important because if you catch the red flags and you respond appropriately to the red flags, it guarantees that your marriage will be okay. That your marriage will be sweet. And there's a huge difference between marriages that are working, where the guy is learning, you two you're learning, you're getting along, offenses are handled quickly as if there was nothing. How different it is from a marriage where you're fighting, disagreements here, disagreements there, no communication, lots of silent treatment, lots of abuse, lots of outsiders having their say in the house. It could just be horrible. But guess what? You're in it because you didn't catch the red flags. You didn't respond to the red flags. So this teaching very important. I believe we're going to have three parts. Okay. Yes. Don't if you meet a person that's unemotional and they put like that, they can't display emotion. They're cold. Most times there's been abuse or trauma in early childhood, and they got to a point where they don't have love to give. They just don't have it. It's like wanting a nice hot cup of chocolate drink from an empty cup. So you pick up the cup and your mind, yeah, I'm gonna have this nice warm chocolate drink. I like chocolate drink, maybe that's why. And I'm trying to drink it, but the cup is empty. Um, no matter what you do to that cup cannot give you what you want. So when you meet a person that is unemotional, cannot love you the way you need to be loved, that's a big problem. Big problem. They need therapy, they need all sorts of things. And I would advise that you stop till it's resolved. And if it doesn't get resolved, then just remain friends. Friends on them, and that's it. Because you've got to be able to love and be warm and just make your partner, feel loved, just really feel treasured and loved. It's important. I mean, why be in a marriage where when your spouse cannot make you feel loved or treasured, or just you can't feel the love? You need if I'm doing the love, you will feel it. But then you got people who they're not going to do it, and they're just cold. So that is a red flag. Also, red flag is if a person is a mommy's boy, or even daddy's boy, or daddy's girl, or mommy's. It's a problem because, and I'll tell you why. Your marriage is supposed to be you and your husband together doing everything on your own. I mean, of course you get help, but it's your home. You that's your the input is yours. Now, a mommy's person, boy or girl, they're so connected to family that they give the family a say, an inroad into the workings of the family. They give the extended family, because yeah, their parents say in their family. So at the end of the day, what's happened is that your spouse does not have the say that they should have on things in the family, because there are parents involved. And that's because one person is a mommy's boy or mommy's girl or something. So it's a big thing that you want to look into initially. This person loves their parents, and that's fine. But can they operate independently of their parents? Are they tied at the waist to their parents, where the marriage would be me, spouse, and parents in the marriage? Now that's a problem, because then you're going to see in-laws trying to run your home the way they think it should be run, and that's not okay. This is your home, and they have their home, and when they come to your home, they're visitors, and you treat them nice, of course you do, but then it is your home. So it may not look like a big thing, but you got to find out to what degree. If it's the man, the whole idea is, can he defend you? Can he protect you? Because most times a mommy's boy will leave you open to mommy's attack or to daddy's attack. So when mommy attacks, you're just exposed. And mommy can just come and trash things up. And he stands in the corner, doesn't see anything, or he even supports her. Now that's not okay. Or if it's a daddy's girl, you in your home, daddy has a say. It's like he's the one that pulls that calls the shots. This is what you can do, this is what you can do, this is what you can buy, what you can buy, and everything is daddy running it. And this is supposed to be your home. I mean, you're a man, and as a man, your home is your home. It's not okay for another man to be running your home. At some point in time, it's not going to be okay. So don't even allow it to start. So that's a red flag. I'm going to go quickly now and start looking at the questions on board.